Hi, my name is Jordan Brannon. I'm the president at Coalition Technologies. Coalition is one of the leading digital marketing agencies in the United States and has been for the better part of a decade. We're well known for our results in SEO, pay-per-click, social media marketing, email marketing, and website design and development, and we're especially known inside of the e-commerce industry. Today we're going to be talking about one of the services that we provide that is really near and dear to my heart, and that is SEO. And we're going to seek to answer one particular question in this short video, which we get a lot. And that question is, why are links so important for SEO? It's really a good thing to understand these sort of background questions when you're an SEO marketer or when you're a digital marketer or when you're thinking about digital marketing for your brand, because ultimately it will help you predict where things are going to go. We all know that digital marketing is an evolving practice that changes frequently based on shifts in consumer behavior. And SEO is no different. And so part of why you want to have a good fundamental perspective on some of these background questions relating to SEO is that it will help you be better in the future. You're not only going to be better informed today and more able to take advanced tactics today, but ultimately 5 years from now your SEO strategy is going to be more future-proofed because you really understood sort of the undercurrent of what drives certain practices and strategies. And so again, we're going to be talking about why is link building important, and I think you'll start to pick up on maybe some cues as to how this plays into SEO in 2020 versus what it was in 2010 or even in the early 2000s. And so let's dive in. And we're really going to focus in on Google here because Google is still the dominant search engine where links are really important. And so we'll put some emphasis on that. If you go back to early search engines, they were pretty primitive. They were basically yellow pages. They ranked sites rather inconsistently. There was a lot of emphasis on advertising. The user experience was pretty poor. And so when Google came on the scene, it really wanted to do a couple of things differently and better than existing search engines. First, Google wanted to have access to more content from the web available to search engine users, to Google users. It felt that if it could index more of what was happening on the internet, it would be in a better position for the future as the internet grew, and that proved to be true. We talk about this as Google's index. Now, the other thing that Google really wanted to do that was more unique is Google really wanted to apply a ranking algorithm to help provide a ranked list of search results to users that said, based on the specifics of your search query, we want to be able to recommend one website as being better than the next website, as being better than the next website, and so on and so forth. And so that was really an advance in terms of search engine technology. Now, those things create challenges, right? You are trying to index an entire reel worth of internet content. Even back in 2005 and 2010, there was tons and tons of web pages that were being published every day around the globe. And so Google was up against this really enormous task of getting access to all of that information in an efficient manner where it could start to apply its ranking algorithm and store information about each of those pages in its index. And so that was challenge one. And that's ultimately where links really started out as being important for SEO. One of the things that you'll see Google do throughout time is it will often leak information or allow perceptions about certain things in its algorithm to persist in the SEO industry because they benefit Google. Google will manipulate the SEO industry to do Google favors. And so when you think about any kind of announcement from Google or any sort of long-standing rumor about what works in SEO, one of the questions you want to ask is, how does this benefit Google that they've allowed this to persist? And with links, one of the advantages that Google had from links was that the more people linked to other pages, the more of the web Google was able to index and crawl. Basically, Google had these little software spiders that would go from one web page to another web page and add it to Google's index. And so when links were more prevalent, it really allowed Google to get access to more content quickly. It allowed it to outpace its competitors. So that's reason one why links were important when Google first started as a search engine, and they remain important today. Links are still really helpful for Google in exploring the internet as a whole. And so Google encourages you to use internal links, so links from your own pages to other pages on your website. as a way of helping Google find out what's important and what's being published on your website. It also uses links to other sites as a way of accessing new content that's published on those sites that maybe it wouldn't have access to otherwise. And so that's reason one. Reason two for links being important is that Google did something really different with them that other search engines hadn't thought of. It said if Jordan owns website A, we'll call it jordansemporium.com, and Jordan's put a lot of time into developing this website, and he's writing content on this website, and he happens to link to joesemporium.com related to a particular topic. Jordan is putting some work into recommending joesemporium.com to his users. And so they felt like it was an accountable vote of confidence for search users, where Google could then say like, hey, based on this vote of confidence in this other page, we're going to rank joesemporium.com higher in our algorithm because of this link. Now, so Google sort of likes to use basically public accountability controls as a way of helping improve its algorithm. So what I mean by that is that Google will often weight more heavily things in its algorithm that it can rely on public audiences to hold particular domain owners accountable for. And so as an example of this is links, right? So if Jordan is selling links to joesemporium.com, and joesemporium.com is a pretty bad site, maybe it's been hacked, maybe the content isn't very good, maybe it's not advantageous in any way, ultimately public perception of jordansemporium.com is going to go down because I am recommending this site. And so Google will use the public as a way of saying like, hey, if you as a webmaster are willing to sort of deceive the public, then sort of toe that line, if you will, but ultimately they felt that the search audience was going to be a good feedback for that. And so Google used these links from one web domain to another as a vote of confidence or a vote in that other domain, and it believed that webmasters would have this accountability factor from their own users to make sure that those links were quality. Today, lots and lots of different tactics have been tried by SEOs to avoid sort of that public accountability factor. And as a result, Google's way of viewing links has changed pretty dramatically. It's banned certain types of link building tactics. It will penalize certain domains for underhanded link building tactics. And it ultimately treats links in a very different way than it used to. But ultimately, the two reasons that link building are so important, links and link building are really important to you as a webmaster today in SEO is, one, it's beneficial to Google, and two, it ultimately is something where Google feels like the public users of a particular web page will hold that web page accountable for its links. And it still acts then as a vote of confidence because you are putting something out in the public and saying, hey, this particular web page is worth visiting. So those are the two big reasons that link building are important. If you have follow-up questions on any of these concepts, please let me know. If you feel like I'm wrong, I'd love to see that in the comment section. We can interact there. Thank you for listening, and hope this was helpful in you as you look at developing and improving your search rankings. Bye.